Hello everyone, in this video we're checking out 10 things that will make you a better rider on the road. Welcome to Bando's Pit Stop. We are a motorcycle accessories company that cater to all your motorcycle accessories and riding gears need. In this channel, what you can find is content around motorcycles, motorcycle accessories and riding gears. So if you're a rider who enjoys that type of content, then please subscribe to our channel and also press the bell icon. Now, the only way you can keep yourself and others on the road safe is by being a better rider. By better rider, I do not mean a fast rider. By better rider, I mean someone who rides caring for himself or herself and for others. Motorcycling is one of the best feelings in this world, and that is why we are obsessed with it. But every time we are on the road, we need to be that extra careful for the safety of everyone. Now, riding with the right riding gears is only half the job done. A lot of this relies on how skilled you are on the road. And this skill defines how well you act in adverse situations where you have to act quick and respond fast. So, here are 10 ways to be an improved rider on the road. Number 1. Learn to ride with 2 fingers on the clutch. Some of you might already be doing this, but one skill I highly recommend you learn is to ride with 2 fingers on the clutch. Now, there is no problem in using 4 fingers to use the clutch, but this technique allows you to have a better hold on your handlebar while using the clutch. Now, this technique is something I've seen a lot of off-road riders use, but this is something you can use on the road also. What this technique will give you is better overall control on your motorcycle. In order for this to actually work, you'll have to work with your motorcycle. You'll have to go to your motorcycle and find the point where your clutch actually engages. Once you know this, you can start using 2 fingers to use your clutch. But this might feel a little weird at first, but once you get used to it, this will greatly improve your overall riding experience. Now, the same goes for braking also. There is nothing wrong with using 2 fingers to use the brake. But we need to understand braking is something very important for your motorcycle. So, you'll need more practice to stop your motorcycle in emergency situations. So, 2 fingers on the clutch and the brakes, rest on the handlebars. Number 2, practice emergency braking. Braking, as you already know, is the most important thing you should practice. Now, we can all stop our motorcycles, no problem in that. But in an emergency situation, we should be able to stop the motorcycle at the right time. Now, this might sound simple to you, but imagine a situation. Suppose you are riding in 60 or 70 km/h and a kid suddenly jumps in front of you. What will you do? You'll have to suddenly apply the brakes so that the kid is safe and you are also safe. And this is where emergency braking will come in handy. So, how do you improve emergency braking? Through practice. What I recommend you do is go to an open ground and start riding. Now, get to a set speed, maybe 50 kmph. And once you get to that speed, apply emergency braking. And when you do this, you'll get a clear understanding on how your motorcycle behaves. And what you have to do is, you have to make sure your front and back tires are not skidding. And you'll also get a clear idea when the ABS actually kicks in. Then, once you get a clear grasp at that speed, what you have to do is you have to increase a speed that is comfortable for you. Do the process over and over again till you know in and out how your motorcycle stops at various speeds. Lastly, to improve your skills, you can actually try various different terrains. So, this is how you practice emergency braking. But please keep in mind, use the front brakes to stop and the back brakes for balance. And also keep in mind, it's never a great idea to just go ahead and squeeze your brakes. Slow and progressive braking is what you should do. And that brings us to the next point. Now, the next step is to learn progressive braking. Progressive braking is exactly what it sounds like. Instead of just jamming your brake, what you're actually doing is slowly and progressively squeezing the levers to stop your motorcycle. Now, what this technique does is, it prevents your wheel from locking up, and thus it gives you better control and prevents any kind of skidding. But this kind of varies depending on the riding conditions or riding situations you are actually in. In a dry condition or a dry situation, you can use the front brakes more than the rear brakes. But in a wet condition or a rain condition, you'll have to use almost the same amount of brake on the front and the rear. Number 4, be a defensive rider. So, what do I mean by a defensive rider? Well, this is actually a complicated subject to wrap your head around because this isn't exactly a tip or a trick, but it's more of a riding style you acquire through practice. So, defensive riding is actually a riding strategy which helps a rider always be in control and never be surprised of the actions of others. It is about observing, planning and anticipating what lies ahead. Now, this kind of a strategy actually helps a rider to be safe on the road. Number 5, you have to keep on learning. Another important thing you can do as a rider is to increase your skill set. And one of the easiest way to do this is to learn it from expert riders. What I mean here is that if possible, you should go and join a proper track session or an off-road training session. Now, what this will do is they'll take you away from your normal motorcycle routines and place you into scenarios where you'll get the opportunity to polish your riding skills. By taking these training sessions, you're not just learning to ride on the track or off-road, but you're learning valuable skills that you can use on the road. Trust me, a good off-road and good track session can do wonders to your skill set. Number 6, never ride with worn out tires. Now, this is something even I'm guilty of. Back in the days when I see my almost bald tire, I used to think, okay, this will ride 1000 kilometers more. Or I'll say to myself, let's see. Now, I can never imagine how naive I was back then. So if you're someone who thinks like this, let me stop you right here, because never ever ride with a worn out tire. Constantly get your tires checked and make sure there is enough tread to stay on the road. Now, if you think your tire is due for a change, then it almost certainly is. Get it changed. Number 7, use rev matching for smoother shift. So we have all heard about rev matching. It's such a cool word to hear. And when someone actually does it on a motorcycle, it sounds even way more cool. So what is rev matching? It is a technique of actually downshifting your motorcycle. Yes, but instead of just normal shifting, what we are actually doing is we are matching the speed of engine to the transmission. Normally when you downshift your motorcycle, the engine RPM rises. You might have already noticed this. When you're normally shifting your motorcycle, it kind of bogs down your engine. Even the motorcycle lurches forward a little. This even does a little bit of a lockup on your rear wheel. This means little to even no control at a point of time. In order to avoid this, what you actually do is a throttle blip. Not acceleration, a throttle blip. What this does is, this brings the engine RPM up to a level that matches to that of the transmission. Now, if you're really interested in rev matching, please let us know in the comments below, and then we'll make a detailed video about it. Number 8, practice counter steering. Now, counter steering is a deep topic, a technical one, so we won't be diving too much into the details. But in your motorcycle journey, you might have already used counter steering some point or the other. You might not have realized it already. Counter steering in pure physics term refers to the principle that to turn a motorcycle in any direction, you turn the handlebar in the opposite direction. Sounds confusing? I understand. This is a very tricky topic to explain, but it's something we do every day. Think of it like this. Suppose you're going on a road at a considerable speed and you want to take a right turn. What you do here is push your right handlebar in. What this actually means is you're actually pulling the handlebar to the left, and this will take you to the right. Now, whether you actually understand it or not, I'm sure this is something you are doing every time you're riding. So what I want you to do is you go on an open road, understand how counter steering works, because in adverse conditions and situations, this will greatly help you. Number 9, getting the suspension setup right. If you ask me, one of the most overlooked thing in motorcycling is suspension setup. Even with the option of adjustability, we ride with what we are given. So if you ask me, one way to greatly improve your overall riding experience is to get the suspension setup right according to the way you like it. Most motorcycle now comes with an adjustable suspension, at least a preload. Now what this does is, it gives you better overall riding comfort. Now why does it matter? Suppose, let's imagine a scenario. You weigh 65 kgs and I weigh 85 kg. On a normal situation, I'll be sitting a bit more lower than what you are because you weigh less. Now in this situation, I'll be using the suspension travel a little more. And in order to adjust this, I'll have to get my suspension setup a bit more up so that I can use the full potential of the suspension. Now this is for the rear suspension, and the same kind of goes for the front suspension also. Since explaining the entire process of adjusting a suspension is a little beyond the scope of this video, we are not doing this here. So if you want it, please let us know in the comments below. Also, even though many motorcycles comes with adjustable suspension, there are motorcycles that do not have this facility. In that case, well, you'll have to adjust. Now, the last point, the 10th point, line selection, vision, and body posture are more important than you think. Out of all the things we have discussed thus far, this one is the most important, at least according to me. Because what I believe is, on the road, line selection, vision, and body posture can greatly improve your overall riding experience. Line selection on street roads? Well, yes. Because what I want you to do is have the same not just on the tracks but also on the street roads. Because knowing where you want to go, having the right approach line and the exit line within your lane can greatly improve your overall control. Whenever you're riding, have a line selection in mind. Have an approach and have an exit. Even though there is no apex there, imagine one, because all these combined will give you greater control. How about your vision then? Well, it is equally important, because in order for this to actually happen, you'll need a clear vision on what's happening around you and what's happening with your motorcycle. And when it comes to body posture, having the right one can greatly improve your riding experience. Well, by body posture, I do not mean you move around your body on your motorcycle, but instead get your head in the right place and your body in the right place and get ready for every curve. Now, on your everyday riding, you might not think this will come into play, but trust me, whenever you're riding, even in twisties or normal roads, knowing the right body posture will greatly improve your riding experience. So, how do we sum up? Let me put it this way. There are no 1 or 10 list of things that will make you a better rider. This list isn't exclusive or even exhaustive. The only way you, me, or anyone else can be a better rider is by riding more and practicing safe riding practices. Roads are unpredictable, and when things go wrong, the only thing we have are our skill set. And the only way we can be a better rider is by polishing that skill sets. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you did, please leave a like and share this video to your friends. And before you go, please let me know your thoughts in the comments, because that is where you can give us your feedback so that we can always improve. Thank you for watching. I'm Sri Govind Mohanan. Take care, ride safe, and happy motorcycling to you.